Every month we do a mug of tea over on our Patreon, and that is basically the series where the patrons ask the questions and topics and we answer them. We'll always keep a couple back, pop them on YouTube and promote Patreon. More on that later. And this one has come from Frank Gonzo, and it says, if you could play Soucek anywhere next season, would you, and where? For me, he'd be a number 10, no more defensive duties for Tomas Soucek.
Hello, Frank. Thanks for the question, mate. I would play Soucek next season, and he'd be my substitute. Actually, so really, a lot of it comes down to whether he is okay with that. There was a statistic was popped up after we'd lost to Nottingham Forest, that Jared Bowen had been involved in 44% of our goals, something like that, either scored or assisted. Don't know what the statistic is for Tomas Soucek, but as I've argued for some time now, we're not really in a position to chuck that level of goal scoring away. He wants to stay at West Ham, but I'm not sure how happy he would be with being a bit part player. But I don't feel he's ever kicked off when he has been dropped from the team. And he has been dropped from the team on a few occasions this season, both by Lopetegui and by Potter. So Potter's shown that he can drop him. I do think that almost above and beyond everybody else, he has demanded inclusion under Potter. So I think there's been times we thought, actually, Potter probably shoulda dropped Ward-Prowse, shoulda dropped Alvarez. I think the one thing when he's looking at all of those, particularly as you think Ward-Prowse has he had a lot of goal involvements last season, his first season under Moyes, Ward-Prowse. They've dried up. And I think he's the one player you would probably think, I have to shoehorn Soucek into the team. West Ham are a struggling team. I've got to find a way to get his goals in there. But he played, I'm going to use Nottingham Forest as an example. He played as a number 10 against Nottingham Forest, just as a number 10. And he started off and he had a really good header. It was across from Soufal. But by and large, during that game, both Kudus and Bowen were really missing the fact that there was a central focal point striker there. So whilst he played as a number 10, he didn't really give us what the team needed at the time. And there was really no one for Kudus in particular to pass to. There was also a point during that game right before half time where Forest had a really dangerous corner. And it was Soucek who headed it out and cleared it. He then went and did the same thing from open play early in the second half. And it's a real feature of his play. He is highly effective in both boxes. And I think if you just played him as number 10, would you get a bit more goal scoring? Yes. But I still think he is a box-to-box midfielder and is going to have to travel between the boxes. I don't think what he does in the middle is particularly good, don't get me wrong. But I think in terms of having someone on the bench who can grab you a goal, and when I say bench player, obviously he would start some games. I don't mean he starts no games. He would start some games. Because even if you get this playmaker and you get this energetic midfielder, they're not always going to play all the time. What I wouldn't want to do if I was using Soucek would be to limit his impact to just one box. And I think just by having him as number 10, you probably do that. Because there's going to be times when the team are going to sit deep, when we are going to need to, encounter a bit of pressure against the opposition. I think his headers out are probably quite important. I think we need him, but I still think we need to phase him out, if that makes any sort of sense at all. What I don't like is the fact that we are so reliant on him. But I also don't think we can throw away 10 goals next season. Now, if he's not starting every game, we won't score 10 goals next season. Maybe next season it's 5 or 6 goals, but I don't think we can afford to lose those either. We do need to phase him out, but I would do it gradually rather than completely lose him altogether. So, yeah, for me, Frank, he would be a squad player.
I'm torn on this. I keep changing my mind on Soucek, and it's out of fear. And it's fear for two different reasons. So on one hand, I think, sell him. For PSR purposes, it's a really good player to sell because of his book value being so low now that, you sell him for 20 million. It's a significant profit on the books. Cash flow wise, it's the same with what we paid. PSR is really good. We're crap at selling players. We're selling a player that's now in his 30s for a significant sum of money. Generally, good business. the reason to sell him is not just financially, it's also because I think he hinders the way that we play. I think when he's not in an 18-yard box, I think he's a problem when he's between the two boxes. To have someone like him as the number 10, it almost stresses me out. It makes me cringe a little bit and think, what, this guy, he's not creative, and that's not his fault. But if you're a striker, the last thing you want is him being behind you, because you're not getting that through ball. You're not getting played in. You're not getting laid off. You might get flicked down to you from a goal kick, but that's not what you want as a striker. That is not service. Getting the ball from a knockdown is not service. So I think if that's the guy that's going to be in such a important position in this squad, I think you're making it really difficult for yourself. And what I think you're doing is really restricting on how you can play. Because if he's in the team and he's further up the pitch, you have to get the ball wide. You have to get crosses in because you need to get the best out of him. And this is where my problem would be. You're almost now getting the best out of the person behind the striker rather than the actual striker. You're now focusing on getting goals out of the number 10 rather than the guy that you've maybe just paid 30, 40 million for, the number 9 in the box. You're focusing on the other player. Now there's a way around that, which is you go get a striker like Fulkrug, who's very good in the air. So when you put the crosses in, you've got two of them attacking it. So that's why I'd sell him. But I'm scared to sell him because he's a very, very good, call it a plan B. I call it get out of jail.
Yeah.
And I think that because Potter's dropped him a few times, because I think Potter wants to. Potter wants to play a different way. He's not doing it. Potter's not managing to get the players to play a different way. So after a couple of games, he goes, oh, no, we've got no goal threat. All right, I'm going to chuck Soucek on, and we're just going to go back to getting the ball wide and getting crosses in, because that way I can get goals. And I almost feel like it's almost like a coward's way out as a manager. But it's like admitting defeat. I can't get Kudus scoring goals. I can't get Kudus creating goals. So you're going to take, no, I'm not going to take Kudus out. I'm going to put Soucek in beside him, and he's going to score the goals. And I feel like it should be the challenge of Potter. Will make the teams play well, make the team play good football, make the team score goals, create lots of chances without him in the team. Yes, he scored 9 goals, but the challenge is go get someone to replace him who can give you 9 goals, but maybe he doesn't score 9, maybe he scores 6 or 7, but he also creates 6 or 7, because that's something Soucek doesn't do. He doesn't create chances, and that's not his game. That's not his fault. So on one hand, while I think sell him, I am scared to sell him, because the minute you do that, the get out of jail card for Potter or the next guy is gone. And if you don't replace him with someone that can get goals, you've got no goals. That player is not in the squad at the minute. It's somebody we'd have to buy. And if we get that transfer wrong, the consequences are huge. The consequences are we win less games. We're not winning very much at the minute. The consequences are we have less points. Well, we get that. We're in the relegation zone. Soucek is almost the barrier to West Ham possibly remaining in the Premier League and being in Championship. Jared Bowen is also that player too. Yeah. But that's why I'm scared, because I don't have faith in A, replacing Tomas Soucek adequately in terms of the goal scoring output, but also B, Potter being able to put a team out there without Soucek in it that has greater attacking threat in his team. The statistics have improved slightly. I noticed it during the Nottingham Forest game. Since Potter came in, we're 16th in the league for shots. We've moved up a couple of places now. 16th. Well, you're going to have that few shots and that few chances. You've got to have someone very clinical in your team. And for all my frustrations around Soucek, he's very clinical.
Oh yeah,
that header was a fantastic effort and an outstanding save. I was surprised he didn't hit the back of the net, because I thought usually he puts that away. It was a very difficult chance, but that's how good Tomas Soucek is. Usually he'd maybe make a bit more of that. Some of his finishes has been outstanding, and that's with his feet, not just his head, his feet, his movement, his finish, the timing, the finishes, Everton away. Fantastic goal. He's clinical.
Yeah.
And it frustrates me that I am scared to sell him, but I am, because it's Graham Potter's get out of jail card. And I feel like on more than one occasion, we've seen him try and go away from the Tomas Soucek way. And after a couple of games, he's had to put him back in because we're not very good at it. We're not very good at playing without Soucek. We're not very good at playing with Soucek, but at least we've got a goal threat in the team. We take him out, we would remain not very good at football. We've just got less chance of scoring a goal. And it annoys me. Part of me thinks, well, if we sell him, it forces Potter to find a way of playing without him. But to subscribe to that idea, you've got to believe that he can do it. You've got to believe he's capable. And I'm not. And I'd much rather have a plan B on the bench. I'd much rather have a get out of jail card on the bench, and that's Tomas Soucek. But this is my fear. My fear is we'd go 5-6 games, it's not working. Soucek comes in, scores a couple of goals, he stays in the team.
Yeah.
Because he has to stay in the team because he's got goals. So I guess to answer Frank's question, what would I do with him? I'm happy with either. I'm happy to sell him, but it's a difficult job to replace those goals. Now, before someone says, "Oh, replace him, he's passing," I'm not talking. No one has mentioned Soucek's good at passing. It's purely the output we get from him from the goal scoring threat. That is difficult to replace. But I'm sort of okay if he's here next season, because whilst it'll frustrate me, and while he will frustrate me in games, it means that we've got that get out of jail card. That's how I would describe him. And he's had a good season. He's my third choice for Hammer of the Year, Tomas Soucek. He's had a good season. But I think it says, and as much as it says about Soucek, I also think it says something about the manager as well.
Yeah, well, and the lack of quality, I think, in the squad as well. And I think this boils down to actually competency on the manager's level and how confident we are that he's going to be able to do what we hope he can do. So if you believe that actually West Ham need to metamorphosize and need to embrace this new style, and your ambition is that next season we thrive, then there's really no room for Soucek in there, because we're going to go on this new journey. We're going to play this new brand of football. There's going to be a playmaker in there. There's going to be a high energy athlete, box to box player in this midfield. And it is going to completely transform the way we play. And actually that stuff that happens in between the two boxes is so crucial to what Potter wants to do. There's no room for Soucek in there. And because we're aiming for the stars there, then that's what we do. Now, I think if we had a different manager, that would be easier to get behind. You could think, okay, right, I understand. Someone that was whatever. Everyone will have a manager in their mind that wasn't Potter, that maybe is playing the way that you would like to play, that maybe you'd have chosen rather than Graham Potter after Lopetegui left. So if you're totally committed to that and you believe that Potter really is the man that will actually, as soon as he takes the team, will take us from near the bottom to top 8, then you really have to get rid of Soucek. If, however, you are still concerned that next season we might struggle for relegation, then you can't.
Yeah.
Because he remains the second best finisher at the club. And as we mentioned in another video that we recorded earlier, the teams that struggle at the bottom and go down tend not to have a regular goal scorer and a goal scoring midfielder. Well, West Ham have got both, and that would possibly make the difference. 10 goals next season from Tomas Soucek, and whatever, 13, 14, 15 from Jared Bowen would probably be enough, particularly if there's a smattering coming from other places. Now, I know that's really, really low expectations. You probably think, well, hold on a second, that's rubbish. No, I don't want West Ham to be down there. Well, what you want and what you're going to get are possibly two different things. And I do think it is a massive leap of faith. And that's why it's so important that you have the right manager. Because if you're going to do this, it is like stepping off the edge of the precipice, and you're hoping someone's going to be there and to catch you. And that's what Soucek is. So it's a bold move, a really bold move to get rid of him. And if we do it, we're going to have to thrive. Because if we don't, you're right, we don't have that get out of jail free card.
I think that's a really good way of putting it and to end it. On one hand, you've got ambition, which is to play better football, to move up the table. And in that hand, you say, well, Soucek doesn't fit into there. But the reality is a completely different thing. The reality is a possible relegation battle. And actually, Soucek is exactly the type of person you need in that sort of circumstances. And I guess that's what you've got to decide, really. Do you believe we can fulfill this ambition? Yeah. And if not, then you're possibly on the side of reality, which is, well, we better keep him then. And I think it's telling, the clubs he's been linked to, Leeds, Everton, I think that says something. because those teams that you might think play good football, say Bournemouth, Aston Villa, whoever it might be, they're not saying, "Oh yeah, I'll have him, guaranteed 9 goals a season. We'll have him." They're not. Why? Well, because they're in this hand. They're in the hand of ambition. The teams that are being linked to him are possibly here, which is, we need to just get some guaranteed goals so we can stay away from relegation. And I think that sums him up. It's maybe we do want to move him on. Maybe we should be in a position where we can sell him. But the reality is, we can't really afford to, I think. I've just decided, there you go, Frank, I'd keep him around because I don't believe that our recruitment will be good enough, and I don't believe that we'll be good enough to go for ambition. Sad state of affairs at West Ham. Anyway, those questions came from our patrons. If you want to support Hammers Chat, allow us to keep doing this job, head to patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Links in description below. There's videos over there. There's other things as well. The best thing to do is sign up for a trial. You get a week for free. You don't pay us any money. But for transparency and clarity, make sure you cancel your subscription by the end of that week. Otherwise, it automatically charges you. So give it a go for free. We all use our free trials on absolutely everything. I was speaking to Frankie yesterday about something, and he said, well, you get a month's free trial. Use that and then just ditch it.
Yep.
Brilliant. Do the same with it. Tweet us the same. Sign up, give it a go, and hopefully by the end of the week, you think, hopefully by the end of the week, you'll think, do you know what? This is worth £3. I'm willing to give them £3.60 for 2 videos every single day on YouTube. That's worth it for me. But massive thank you for joining us. Massive thank you to Frank for the question. Before you disappear, please do drop a like on the video, like a thumbs up, subscribe to Hammers Chat, myself and Gonzo, and probably Tomas Soucek. We'll catch you in a bit.